Hello everyone, welcome to the Corso workshop live stream. Um, we'll be starting shortly in about 10 minutes or so. In the meantime, we'll have just a chill, well, not really break because I haven't really started, but we'll have a chill time having a chat before we actually get started. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing well. It is really hot right now in Malta. This week we've had the highest recorded temperature in Malta, which was about 41 degrees Celsius, I think. It was insane for such a country. But yeah, I mean we've been dying of heat. In fact, I have my fan on. I hope it doesn't make a lot of noise in the background. In fact, it shouldn't. And hello Melissa, how are you doing? It's good to have you here. So yeah, in the meantime, um, we start about 4 o'clock, like 8 minutes to go. We'll just take it easy before we start. We have no chief with us today, so I'm running the stream on my own. Yeah. Yes, remember to hydrate often. In fact, water. Good advice, man. So yeah, today we'll be making a very simple project which requires just a very small amount of tools really to perform, sort of to finish. And that we'll be using mostly scrap pieces of leather, which I've got from a donation a very long time ago. Um, we'll be talking about them a little bit later, but I think today we'll be doing drawstring pouches, jar pouches, which are made of a material which is one whole piece, and then with a string which tightens the neck, the opening shut. I'm not quite sure what we'll use for the actual drawstring itself. I might just go ahead and strip down some leather, might make it a little bit nicer. Or we can use fabric. I think I have some cotton somewhere lying around. Can't remember where I put it though. I distinctly remember having some cotton rope. I'll see if I can find it. It's not here though. We have, oh, maybe it's here. Maybe it's here. Sometimes I keep loose piece of string in this pocket. We've got short piece of shoelace, which is not what we need. We've got a long piece of lace, and this will do perfectly for our project. Definitely. And also, this gives me an idea to use a certain ingredient which I have in this bag. I'll show you later on. Okay. Couple more minutes before we get started. Wait for a couple of people to join. Then we'll get started promptly at 4 o'clock. Let's leave that there for now. That there for now. We're here. Perfect. Good. So yeah. Lately I've been having a little bit of a Dungeons and Dragons vibe. If those of you who have been following the stream haven't realized really, the last few projects, last few things that we made have been somewhat D&D related, Dungeons and Dragons. And that's because I have a huge project in the making. I cannot tell you anymore. All I can tell you that it involves a good couple of my friends. It's going to be a big thing, a big sort of collaboration really. It's going to be really awesome. It's not really related to Corso Workshop, but Corso Workshop will tie in really nicely later on down the line. I really cannot divulge anything more. I'm really excited about this. I really want to tell you about it, but honestly, at this point, it's best perhaps not to overly do it. Let me check the stream health. It seems that the quality is really low. Oh no, wait. Quality good? Yes, quality is not bad. 720p. Good. Okay, so you'll have to pardon my hair, by the way. The haircut. Alrighty. Cool. So, people in chat, what have you been up to? Have you made anything cool recently? Like to know. Ooh, your character's outfit. Ooh, when you say your character outfit, um, do you mean like an actual cosplay thing? Is it like for Witcher school or something like that? Ooh, the fabric is ready to be cut. That's really cool. That's really interesting. I really like um sort of your projects are really cool, man. Like whenever I see you making something which out of fabric, it's really cool to watch. I hope we get the chance to work together for sometime. So yeah. Okay. I think I might have another go at the sewing machine today. Um, because the leather that we're using is very, very um, soft. It's not fabric, it's leather. It's very soft chrome tanned leather. So I think it's about time we can actually get started. I can show you exactly what I have on the on the workbench. And here we are today. We are going to be working with these materials. I have more over there at the back of the garage. These are chrome tanned leather. They cannot be carved, they cannot be stamped, at least I have never managed to. And they're fairly stretchy. Well, fairly, like, not really, but they're stretchier than vegetable tanned leather. So, and it's quite supple as well. It's got a nice texture on it. But like this sort of skin look to it, which vegetable tanned leather doesn't usually have. For example, if I show a piece of vegetable tanned leather smooth, so you can carve it. This one has its own and even different parts of it have like different textures. Like over here, it's quite smooth, and over here, it's quite rugged. I have a brownish red one. I have a bluish one. I have a gray one. I've never used the gray. I kind of want to use the gray because today we'll be making drawstring pouches specifically for dice, for Dungeons and Dragons dice. And I have a set which is white and black. And I think they go really well. It's like this sort of bonish necromancer kind of vibe to it. That's what I'm getting from it. And I think I will manage to make something interesting with it. Now, to start off, there are several ways where how you can make drawstring pouches, and one of the simple ones will be making out of the red leather, simply because um, I have a lot more of it. I have a lot more in the back, and if I would like to change the design later on, I can make another one. So it's not really an issue. And the dice will be matching are like emerald green, and I think the emerald green on the brownish red looks super cool. Reminds me almost of like red dragons with green eyes for some reason. I don't know. It's just, I mean, look at that. It's cool. Okay, so to start off with, we are going to start off with a very simple design, something which I picked up during my time at Witcher school, um, where we were making drawstring pouches as well, but back then they were quite small. And I think all you need to do in this case is simply draw and cut out a circle. So I am going to see if I can mark one with a wing divider, and I'm going to see like the biggest radius I can cut. It's probably from this area So it can go over there. I can see that I can go all around even if I go a little bit over here like this. Perfect. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can mark the back of the leather with the wing divider. All I'm looking for now is to score or at least mark it properly, so then I can go in with the leather shears and cut out with the leather shears that are over here and cut out my design. If this doesn't work, I can always take a regular compass, draw it out, and mark it with a marker or something of the sort. So let's see if this is going to be of any use. I mean, I can kind of see it. Let's see if I think while I'm at it, okay, so it is somewhat visible. So while it is marked, I'm going to take my pencil. See if the pencil doesn't work. I'll take the pen. The pen should work. Yeah, perfect. I'm going to mark my circle on the mark so that it remains more visible to me while I cut. You can definitely mark this with a chalk marker, with a chalk pencil. You can mark it with a black marker. You can use any number of marking tools. You can also probably score it on the front, which may score it a little bit better. I just don't want to risk ruining the front. I have to pardon the cars. Okay, so that is you can see it on camera clearly. There's the circle there. Now all I need to do, it's a very simple, there's basically half the work done already. Just going to cut out a lot of the excess. Okay, and then I'm going to go in and cut the material using leather shears. Now here's the tip about leather shears. Get a good pair, because not having a good pair will make you cry. And once you do get a good pair, use it only for leather. My mother used to sew a lot when I was young, and she used to have like scissors and shears specifically for cutting clothes. I could never understand why she sort of didn't let us use them, but sort of nowadays I can kind of understand, because when you use a pair of scissors on different materials have different toughness and hardness, and they blunt the shears in different ways. So leather shears, or shears in general, scissors, last longer if you use them on the same kind of material. Well, last longer for that material. And I think also the YouTube channel Jordi Leather did give this piece of advice, and he's quite right about it as well. Great stuff on that channel as well. I enjoy watching the tutorials. Okay. All I'm doing is cutting the circle. To be fair, these shears need to be sharpened a little bit. I've never used them properly, and if you have watched my garage sort of rearrangement video a while back, you will see me setting up this leatherworking tool station, and this pair of shears came with that station, which was a second-hand tool, so it had seen its fair share of use. And for this kind of project, it doesn't need to be like super precise on the line. What matters is that you are close enough. You can always go back and try to trim it better, but as you can see, it's a decent semicircle. That is all we need to get started, really. Don't need the shears anymore, at least not for now. What we need next is to mark some holes. Okay, so we're going to do that with Let's use a ruler. So let's use like a tool which is quite accessible to everyone. Now, to find the center roughly, I tend to do this. Fold it in quarters, as if you were going to make a pancake or a crab. Put a pan in the middle, and roughly there you see on the fold lines, that is roughly where the center is. You can't really see it on camera, but there's a small black dot there. Now, wherever I set it, I need to be consistent now. So I'm going to be working in inches for no other reason because they're a little bit more easier to see on the ruler. You can definitely work in metric, which by many accounts is the superior way of using measurement. So I'm going to use half an inch, and I'm going to mark half an inch, okay, from the top over there, and I'm going to mark half an inch from the bottom, and that gives me my first 2 points. Now I'm going to roughly estimate, let's see, was this? Yeah, they're about opposite, it's fine. Roughly estimate like 90 degrees perpendicular to that line that you just did, and mark another set of holes, one at half an inch, and another one at half an inch from the bottom. Across this whole piece is about 9 inches long, so 9 inches in diameter, roughly. Okay, so we have our 4 points. We're going to put points in between them so that we have 8 in total. Okay, so I'm going to be using the same technique again. Mark 1 there and 1 there. Don't be afraid to be liberal with the marker over here. We're going to be removing these spots in a minute. Okay. One over there and one over here. Just make sure that you are seeing everything well. Good. Now, my next step is to punch some holes. Now, there are ways we can do that. We can use a hole punch. Okay. We can whack it. We can use also probably the rotary punch, but this has a smaller diameter hole. Now, I think for this particular project, what I'm going to use is a simple, this is a nice, I think, cotton shoelace. I'm going to cut off the ends, alright, so that it doesn't have that plastic thing. I know it has a name, can't remember what it was. I think Kyle Hill recently shared a post with the names what this is. So this doesn't need to be very, very wide for a hole, I mean, so probably I can do it with and I think that should be good enough. Perfect. In fact, we're going to be using the number 5 hole on the rotary punch, and all you need to do is go in, center on that hole, and cut. Just make sure that you, okay, so for example, I'm going to cut all the way through here, so there we go. A bit of a twist. Now it needs wait a second. Something is not right. I like punches, like hammer punches, better than rotary punches because a slight misalignment will lead to okay, so for example, now this isn't working. For the most part it was. Could be like a piece of a rough texture on the leather, but it's just easier to just punch your way through. And I think we need a slightly larger one. 5 30 seconds. Yeah, let's use this one. So punch, mallet, come on, mallet, Last punch. Okay. Now we have, let's clean our punch just so that we can keep it free for future use. Perfect. Nice and clean. Let's do the same for the other one. Cleaning your punch is important because then when you get to use them, they don't get gummed up. Okay, so I have all the holes punched in. You can see that perhaps between these, it's a little bit more wide, it's a little bit wider, so that is where I'm going to use my shoelace first. So, shoelace goes in two holes which are next to each other, and then you just snake, actually not through here, needed to go through this one, through the big one. Okay, see if you can sort of draw them up to the same length. I'm going to snake them through this one, through the next hole, and then finally to the one in the front. Do the same on the other side. 1, 2, and 3. Now we start by closing the pouch. And we just fix these folds a little bit better so that they fold nicely. I think I'm going to go ahead and punch more holes so that the leather pinches better without having a lot of like these flaps, but that is the basics of a small drawstring pouch. Let's fix some of the holes. Let's add a couple more. Now we have the general shape. Now here's the thing. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind is that if I have an even number of punches, to add more holes I need to add them in pairs. Okay, so I always need to add another 2. So I'll start with this one. I'm going to have another one here. I'm going to eyeball it. Eyeball another one here. Okay. Now I'm going to eyeball another 2. Actually, I'm going to eyeball one over here and one over here so that I don't overdo it on one side. One over here. Again, one over here and one on the other side. Don't need to be precise about this. Let's add 2 more over here. And one over here. And finally we'll add 2 on the front. One roughly over here. And that doubled the number of holes that we have at our disposal. Perhaps this is a little bit better to see on the top side. Hey Max. Hey there, Max. Yes, I suppose it technically is. I'm going to be holding some dice in these dice bags. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go in with the string once more. Let's see where we're going to start off. Let's start off over here. And snake our way through all the holes. You can also help by pinching it. If you pinch the folds where the lace will go, might help it sit a little bit better. Okay, let's do some of the other side so that we make sure that we are equal on both sides. Okay. You could hold your gold coins, I suppose. That is exactly true. In fact, I was just about to mention it, Paul. Thanks for joining, by the way. Paul and I have been having a hell of a time on Minecraft. Yes, in fact, it is a good way to hold your coins as well. I do not have any coins. A good friend of mine, Thomas, lent me some during the literature school, and I just sent them back, so I have no coins to demonstrate this with. But I do have the dice to show you in just a second. But first, okay, so now the pouch sits much, much better. When you close it, it doesn't open up on its own, but this definitely is a little bit too unseemly, so let's fix that. First of all, okay, we can open it, we can hold stuff in. Let's close it, and that is how it's going to hold. Now, let us fix the edges. I don't like having these plastic bits, so I'm going to cut them off. Nicely so that they don't fray as much as possible. They are going to fray eventually, so I'm going to fix that by tying a knot at the end. Before we do so, however, we need to put something, a little bit of decoration in it. So let's do that next. I have had this little bag for about 11 years, 10 years, something like that. Once I was, when I was still studying at university, there was a stationery nearby, and I was just about sort of starting to get into like DIY, crafting again, that sort of thing. And I saw this bag for like €5, and it's full of small wooden beads, which are great for projects like these. Thing is, I never keep them in an appropriate container, so they always spill out, which is fine. I also have Velcro in here, and I always forget that I do, so need to remember and have a project which needs Velcro. So, okay, so let's have a look. We have this reddish brown pouch. We can go for black beads on it, but I think I can match some nice wooden beads, which should very much match the color. Now, let's see what we have. This is a little bit destroyed. This one is a square. Let's see if we can find a matching square. See if we can find two matching. Oh, this might work. I was using this probably some time ago for a similar purpose, I think. Let's keep that in mind. Small bead. We should have another small bead somewhere. Can I see one? Yeah. Okay, so that's two small beads. Quite like that. Quite like the look, and they match the color nicely. Let me see. Yeah, they match the color nicely. I think they will do just fine. Okay, so we won't be needing these for now. Perhaps we'll use these later. Ooh, where'd you go? There we go. Hydrate. Very good. So, I don't think these laces fit. I shouldn't have cut the plastic off just yet. Actually, I think I will make it work. Okay, so there's one in. The other one goes on the other lace. Sometimes these beads, when they are made in a way that they're wider on one side than the other, but you can always go in and drill them a little bit wider. I think what I'm going to try and do first is maybe get some masking tape and see if I can sort of put a tip on it, because I sort of got ahead of myself. Let's see. Is this gonna work? Probably will not, but I think I made it a little bit too thick. No, it's okay. Oh, I know what I can do. I'm going to shorten these anyway, so it's okay if I cut a little bit off. If I put this to a point, I should theoretically be able to slide it in. Then that's it. Okay. Cool, cool. I feel like there should be something else. In fact, I think what I'm going to do... Oh, where did this come from? I think what I'm going to do is, before I put these on, I want to make a small leather tab. I could use the same material. In fact, I think I will. A very simple, very, very simple tab. And for it, I will use my strander if I manage. You can also use it, you can also cut it with a knife. Let me show you with a knife first. Let me show you what I mean. It's just a very small piece of leather, roughly the same width. Ooh, forgot to turn on the power for my laptop. That should do it. Okay, so I'm just going to cut and hold the piece. I don't need a really big piece, just that small piece over there. Okay. I'm going to need my punches. I have the rounding punches over here. It's fine, that's one size appropriate one. Probably this one, maybe a little bit bigger. This is a 15. Let's see if I have 20. 20 is a little bit too big. Let's see if we can fit the 15 on, and then we can cut down to size. Perfect. So I'm going to round one end. Okay. And I just need to measure the distance between, like this, roughly. I just roughly need an inch in between, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. If I take my punch over here and punch a hole over there, okay, then I measure an inch roughly from the center of that hole, poke it there, punch another hole there, and then take the same punch, same rounding punch, roughly line it up. It doesn't need to be perfect, it never needs to be perfect. Okay, and then simply an X-Acto knife or a very sharp knife, just go around and clean the edge like that. Right? Now what this does is it keeps our strings in alignment. So take those out again. We push this through. Come on now, behave. Just going to use tweezers to help it along. That's one. There's the other. Come on. Come on. Just need to push it through. We'll clean the end later. There we go. And what this tab does is you can use it to tighten and open, sort of to shut the whole pouch quickly. So this you can just keep everything together. It's a small nice detail. I like it. I don't know if it really makes that much of a difference. I kind of like the idea of having something like that over there, not just the beads. Okay, so now we need to figure out how long we need the cords to be. We can't make them too short because otherwise the pouch won't open properly, but we can't have them too long, that then they'll be like dangling everywhere. Hey Skilltree, nice to see you here. Thank you for joining. So what I would do is open this. That seems a decent portion open, okay? And I think we need to put in the beads. Let's clean out the edges so we can put the beads in nicely. and tie a very simple thumb knot or an overhand loop, whatever, to stop the bead from running out. Very simple knot over there, and then do the other side as well, just cutting them at an angle so they're easier to fit through the bead. A nice little bit of a twist helps them along usually. It's giving me trouble, this one. There we go. Easy does it. Okay. Let's tie a knot roughly in the same place as the other one. Yeah. Not there, not there. Just make the string roughly symmetrical, as in equal on both ends. Cut it off, and there is our drawstring pouch using very minimal resources, very minimal tools. Honestly, a craft knife, ruler, and a punch is all you need to get this done. I maybe use a bit more tools because I have access to them. Doesn't mean that you have to. So let's clear up the bench quickly so we can see the first result. We're barely half an hour in this live stream and we already finished one of the pouches. That is a very good sign if you want to mass produce these sorts of things. Very simple, very quick, very easy, and frankly not very expensive to make. So here are the nice emerald dice, and just hold the strings. That is a nice and nifty way to carry your dice for Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, bone dice for LARP and role playing. You can also, if you would like, tie them off. And there we go. That looks extremely nice. Got a nice feel to it, got a nice shape to it. Can you imagine this filled with gold coins, like clinking metal? It will sound amazing. Okay, cool. Now let's work on the second one. The second one will be a little bit more different, I think. It's a design which I've never tried before, but I've seen it done, I think, by George the Leather, and a friend of mine, Evelina, just sent me a couple of pics to sort of give me an idea. Let me have a look. So we'll be using this nice grey chrome tanned leather now, and the idea is to use it for these white and black dice, and they look, I think they're quite nice, I think. So I want to make like a squarish design, right? A squarish, how shall we say, pouch, really, but more rectangular and, you know, square at the bottom rather than round. Before we actually get to that, however, we need to create a small pattern, and we'll use a simple piece of A4 paper for that. We need to make sure that we have enough material to work with. I think we do. We have a bit, so should be fine. Should be fine. So I think 2 inches perhaps for the, maybe 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches sounds about right to me. So let's mark 2.5 inches on the paper. Okay. Now let's see. Actually, you know what? Let's use the edge of the paper to make sure that it is lined up. So 2.5 inches, so that we have one side which is square, roughly square. Doesn't need to be perfect, as always. I think about maybe we should have a little bit larger. Let's go for 3 inches. So 3 inches. Let's go for about 5 inches. Go for 4 inches deep. Because we should have enough material here to have because we would need to cut. The top is 3, you need 12 inches of material. Because it's like 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3. We don't have enough for 12, but we do have enough on the other side. Okay, so I need to make sure that I think I have enough material to work with here. Now I need to have this cut at a 45-degree angle. I need to have like this coming to a point, okay? So that if I take 4 of them, sew them together, inside out. I think I'm going to use the sewing machine for that because I think it's an easy way to try and do it. And this material seems a little bit too thin, as in it's thin enough for me to work with. So the best way to do this would be, shall we use a protractor? Yeah. Here we go. Let's use protractor. I haven't used these, I think, in about 20 years. So 45 degrees over here. Somewhere over there. So I take this point. That's a 45 degree over there, and I need to do the same on the other side. However, I need to measure the distance of 4 inches. So I take 4 inches from here. Again, accurate enough is good enough. Okay. Let's clear everything up. I don't think we'll need this again anytime soon. Though I always say that, and I never am right. Let's clear this up later. Okay, so now I just need to cut out this shape and then replicate it 4 times on the leather. Okay, so should be easy enough to do. Okay. Okay. Good. Good, good, good. So that goes there. This can go here for now. Don't need that. This for later. We just need to mark some corners. Okay, so I think actually this fits because we can fit it all on one side. Okay, so let us see. So that is the edge. Oops, what did I do? Oh no, did I break my pen? I hope not. What happened? This got... Oh no. My nice pen. Technical problems, folks. It's okay, we'll sort it out later. That's one. Okay. I just need to join the dots later on. Let's see. Okay. Trying to maximize on the space so that I don't waste any of my material as much as possible. I don't have much of this grey leather and I quite like it. I just never had the opportunity to use it in the past. Okay, so there we go. A bit of brute force. Now let's join all the dots. I know that this time I am working on the top surface, on the flesh side of the leather. But mostly I'm going to be cutting in the lines, so it really doesn't matter as much. Okay, that's one. Oh, alrighty. Most of the lines, even if they are visible, they will be in the folded material, because obviously when you're going to fold, since I don't have a proper seam allowance here, I'm just going to eyeball it. Sorry, good sewer, good tailors and craftspeople who use sewing, who do sewing. I mean, I know it's not the proper way to do it. It works. Works for me. I'm sorry, let me keep up with the chat. A few weeks ago, I tried making a pouch, but I got too excited and it turned out to be a bag. Fun fact. A few years back when we did the Trimaker tournament, I had to make the beer mug, the giant beer mug. I initially set out to make like a small mug to hold beer in. Something similar to Skiltree's mug size, really. I ended up making the giant, you know, giant mug to drink from, simply because I couldn't properly and very accurately lower the thickness of the beech wood that I had available on hand. So yeah, you set out to make small things, you end up making big things. Not a bad thing, as Skilltree's saying. So yeah. Okay. No. Also have a bit of a gentle, light touch when you are marking on this sort of leather. First of all, it's very grippy, so it tends to grip on your tools and it tends to stretch, which is why I don't particularly like using knives on this kind of leather to make accurate cuts. I prefer using shears, because shears they sort of part the material without imparting like stretching pressure on it. The last line, it should be this one. Okay, now we can get to cutting. Excuse me. So let's use the shears. Let's start with this line. Going to, as much as possible, cut on the line or just slightly within. You can still cut with a knife, don't get me wrong. It's just you really need to apply pressure and make sure to have a rubber or a cork backed ruler or some sort of hard edge to properly hold the leather from stretching, prevent it from stretching, because it will want to stretch. In fact, I think I suffered a bit from it from its material here, in fact. But I think I can decently hide that. Let's try. Usually when you have a bit of excess material on both ends, cutting with a knife should be fine for the most part. Make sure you have a well polished sharp knife. Make sure. Okay. Okay. So this is one piece. Now as I think about it, it might be a little bit small, but we'll see. Let's have a go. I have to cut this here so I have enough material to work with without getting in my own way. Let's see. I think the best way to cut would be from this side down, which is a little bit precarious on this edge because I don't have a lot of material to work with. It should be fine. Hold it the leather. You notice that on the end, because it stretches, it flares out, which is why I'm cutting towards this way, because this extra material, I don't need it. I'm soon done with the cutting, and then I think we can give the sewing machine a try. Last time we were not so lucky with it, let's put it that way. When I say by not lucky, I mean that I wanted to throw it out in the street. But I like it. I like it. It's a nice piece of machinery. Should theoretically work really well. And a lot of people have had very good results with it, so I can't understand why I can't. Excuse me. That. Okay. Right, the top need well, top is fine for the most part. Let's just clean it off a little bit. Okay, one last panel. Okay, so maybe this wasn't the most efficient way to plan the panels out, but we have 4 panels here. Okay, now the idea is to have each of these sewn, okay, together so that eventually they form like a box. Now, noticing some discrepancies in some of them. I'm trying to work with the smallest one that I have, so that will determine the size of all the other ones. I think this was cut a little bit too thick. Let's see. Where did I put the pen? Okay. Okay, and then this side needs to be taken it down a little bit. Okay. Sewing machines like to test my patience as well. Okay. Yeah, it's good enough. Good. So I need to clear out my workbench. I mean, if this doesn't work, you can always hand sew it, so it's not such a big deal, to be fair. I've been hand sewing stuff since I started leatherworking anyway, and honestly, I really haven't gotten used to the sewing machine well enough to just sort of to say I use it. We'll keep this for later. Perhaps we need to make it more. Now let me clear up here. Unfortunately, these kinds of scraps, I don't really have a lot of uses for them. I'll keep some of the big ones, like this piece for tabs and that sort of thing, but it's incredibly tough as well. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to cut it, so at least with hand, by hand, you know. Did I have another bigger piece? Oh yeah, I threw it over there already. Okay, so leather shoes. Sewing machine out here. I'm not quite sure whether this will work. I was going to set it up quickly, then see if I can get it to work, at least as I want to. There's a very big possibility that I am not using it right. I don't want to say it's unlikely, but I did read up a lot on them. I watched a lot of videos on these sorts of sewing machines, you know, so kind of am, you know, familiar, as familiar as you can get with them. When you see them on the internet, you see like a lot of people. Oh crap. Okay, wait. Okay. Let's thread it again. I'm just trying to thread the thread through the whole machine because it has a ridiculous mechanism. Okay. Now we just very well. Oh wait, I need to cut this neatly. Come on. Alright, that goes through the needle. Presser foot goes up, and this goes in there. I think I have enough string left in the bobbin to make this work. I need to fasten it. It's not an ideal setup, but it's the one I have. So let me just fasten the sewing machine to the workbench. Okay, that won't go anywhere. No. Let's move the camera so that perhaps you can see something of what I am doing. Let's pass it behind here. No. Okay. No. This is the sewing machine area. Let me see if I can perhaps get you now. Okay. Yes, this is we've got the needle over here. Okay, I don't know if that is very visible to you, but we have the needle over here, presser foot goes under here, and we're going to be sewing these pieces together. So I'm not quite sure. Um, I'm not quite sure how to start. I'll be frank. I think at this point, just go for it. I don't think this material is so unforgiving that it needs like a lot of babysitting. Let me just tie a knot so I won't have to worry about the thread coming undone. So simple reef knot will do, or simple knot. Okay, let's see how. I see the issue. I see the issue. It's not going through. What happened here? Okay, so for some reason it didn't work. I think it got stuck on. I think it got stuck on the wing thingy up here. Let's try one more time. First I need to use a bit more string. For some reason this is getting stuck. Why? Oh, I see. That might make it a little bit better. Let's try again. I'm not sure if this will work. I hope it will, because I honestly really want this to work. There's absolutely no reason not to. I could probably glue it first. If this doesn't work, I'll put some contact cement. And that should help me adhere everything together. Technically, contact cement on its own should be enough, but let's see. Okay, so what is happening is it's not working. And I think the issue is with the bottom panel. I don't know what the hell happened here, but I have no idea what the hell happened here, but it seems like we have a knot on both sides. Okay, so sewing isn't working for now. That's fine. Let's use some contact cement to just scooch you over here. Good. Okay. Now, I want to see if I can move the cable a little bit better, but don't mind the cable. So, move the threads away. Contact cement. This fold keeps going the wrong way. I'm going to need the metal spatula. Where's my metal spatula? I had one. There it is. Cool. Okay, so I'm also going to be gluing this part, the bottom flap. I don't know if that is very visible to you, but yeah. And then the opposite part, which is going to mate with it. I'm not using a lot of glue, just enough so that I can start smearing it. I may have done a bit of a savage job on that glue up, but see. Okay, let's leave it to dry for a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up with a piece of shop rag. Okay, so I don't get glue everywhere possible. Going to wait until this is tacky but not wet, and honestly with this heat it already is there. Just let's see now, and we're going to see if we can glue them up nicely like so, using a roller, sort of smooth all the edges together, and then we're going to fold that out later. Okay. You need it to set a little bit more before we try and sew it again. Let's attempt to sew another time. Let's pass the thread through. Over here now. Excuse me. Yeah, was doing it right. So could it be that maybe I was doing this wrong? So is the other side wrong? Okay, why is this getting stuck? The bobbin got stuck. Why is that? Oh, I see. See, the shuttle got stuck. What is going on there? Hello everyone. Try to fully rethread both threads. Maybe that will help the most often. The problem. It's good advice. In this case, I think it's the material that's the problem, because the bottom part was not sliding along with the top part, because it doesn't have helping teeth like a normal sewing machine would have. This is just a smooth plate on the bottom. Hi Rockanar. But that's good advice, Eve. Eva. Okay, passing that there. Just making sure that okay. The bobbin isn't okay. That's going on just fine through the top. Now that goes there. Close this. Hold the back thingy. Drop it down and pull the thread through. And that we have done everything right. Let's see if the glue will help. In this case, I hope it does. So, going to lower the presser foot there, tie a knot at the back, get you closer to the sewing machine so you can see a little bit better what my anguish is. I hate fixing tension problems on old machines. Hope it will work. Thank you very much. I hope it will work too. Tensioning was a real issue when I started using this machine. There are these two tensioning screws over here. That's these two tensioning screws, which are basically like two plates with a nut, so you can just tighten them or loosen them. Thing is, I always have them on the loosest setting because the thread that I have keeps breaking. So yeah, and this was supposed to be bonded nylon. I'm sure it wasn't. Yes! Just going back just for the hell of it. I don't really need to do it, like go back and forth on the stitch. Yes. Okay. We stitched. We stitched. We stitched. Okay, let's just fix this and remove the extra thread from there. Okay, yes. Yes, it worked. So happy. Cool. Okay. And this will again eventually come out. The front. Let's do the rest. Let's do the rest. Cool. Okay, so this is going to be the order of operations. We're going to glue stuff and then sew it. Okay. We are an hour into the live stream, and I think in an hour we can knock this out, the rest of it. Okay. So I think at this point it's best if we do this piece. Yeah. Let's do two and then we glue up the rest together, because I think otherwise it would be a little bit problematic. Okay. I'm not sure I know what I'm doing here now, but I mean, never stopped me before, so I can't really show you well enough, but all I'm doing is just spreading glue on the corner. There's a bit of a booger there. I have a burst of red. Okay, that's good enough for now. Spread it around. May have let it dry a little bit too much this time round. I think it should still work though. You can feel that the glue, you can feel it when like contact cement gets too dry. It's very tacky. It doesn't let you spread it around properly. But yeah, I wanted to clean this bit as well. Okay, I already tell that, oh, this is almost dry already. We need to get moving on this. Let's see if this works. Did this work? Yes, it did. Okay, let's go back to sewing this bit. Okay, now this time I'm going to sew it again. Okay, in there. Oh, my back, man. So let us do the same thing we did earlier. Tie a knot at the back, helps me keep the thread in its place and not pull out when I start sewing. And let's have a go. Okay, let's come on the other side now. I'm going to reverse the whole stitch back as I did on the first piece. I like that, and I'm going to stick to it now. Not the cleanest work I've ever done, but it's work nonetheless. So, okay, let's cut the extra thread. Okay, that side and this side. Okay, all right. Happy with that. So far, so good. Now we need to match these two pieces together. So let's go back over here. Okay, now we need to see which face are going to match with which. So these with this. Yeah. And this with this. So let's do this part first. Just a small bead of glue, doesn't need a lot. Be careful not to close the leather on itself, because it will remain shut. Don't want that. Close there. Try and do this bit over here. You could also use like those metal stem brush, for gluing, that sort of thing. They're really useful for barge or contact cement, like the one that I'm using. Just get rid of the thread. Okay, so yeah. A little bit more. Okay. Let's have a go with this. I'm making a mess. Oh no, come on, come on, come on. We can do this. We can do this. Come on. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. Luckily, this contact cement isn't the strongest in the world, so maybe it didn't let it dry enough. All right, let's go. A bit more thread from the top. Somewhere there should do fine. Okay. Let's see now. Going to reverse over here as well. Okay, turn everything around and reverse this. Okay. Cool. Just need a little bit of support, that's all it needed. So, this is working well. Okay. Let's put the extra thread on this side and on this side. Okay, I'm certainly learning a lot on about this. What material is the thread? The thread should be bonded nylon, but it definitely isn't. It doesn't feel like bonded nylon. Doesn't feel like nylon. Um, I'm pretty sure it's a bit of a high strength polyester, perhaps. Not sure though. But polyester would melt, not burn, right? Let's put that to the test. Creme brulee torch. I have a thread here. Does this burn? Let's observe. It's polyester. It burned. It melted. Didn't burn. Now I just realized I just lit something on fire just to answer a scientific question. Well done, Paul. Thank you. Okay, so let's finish up on the last one. We can clean it up later. Okay. Then turn it inside out. Okay. Cool. Well, let's work on these. The last bit. Just make sure. Okay. Cool. Okay. So this is going to be the most awkward one to glue up because a lot of it is folded inwards already. Try to be as careful as possible. Okay. Okay, let's leave it to dry for a second. Again, tacky but not wet. Very important, otherwise it will take a longer time to adhere properly, and I've seen that problem. So okay, so what am I noticing with, what am I learning from this sewing machine? First of all, it you need to keep in mind that this doesn't have a helper like teeth underneath like a normal mechanized sewing machine would have. The bottom teeth would grab the material to pull it backwards, just as the teeth under the presser foot over here would have to sort of pull everything backwards. So either the two faces need to have very high friction between themselves, or they need to be glued up. So that's one thing to keep in mind for sure. So otherwise the top face moves, the bottom face remains where it is, and it just ends up being eh. Secondly, I noticed you can get used to this very quickly, in the sense that it's not a perfect machine for sure, but for the price that it was about 300 euros. When you think about it, it is a lot of money. Like 300 euros for a machine that needs a lot of work is not cheap. However, like the basic entry model for like professional hand cranked sewing machines start in $1,000, so 300 doesn't sound as much when compared. So I think it's a good thing to keep in mind. Now we are at a good point. Let us just see if we can merge the faces together. I think we will have a little bit of a discrepancy in some areas, but cool. We have a little bit of a fold here. That's okay. Let's just press it as best we can and sew it. Once it's done, we'll see about turning it inside out. Also notice that for me it is easier to have most of the material on the outside while sewing. It gives me a bit of a better, not registration, but better reference when sewing. Knot is tied there, and let's get you here. Okay, clear, let's go. Let's reverse a little bit so we can reverse stitch. Okay, now we're going to work our way back. Oh no, I think the bottom bobbin finished. Oh no! Okay, it's fine. We can redo this. I forgot to take into account the bottom bobbin might have finished. It's fine. We'll just have to redo some of these stitches. I might have to do all of them. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we might not have to. The bottom bobbin finished somewhere. Let's see. Somewhere around here, though. It's not bad. I think we can get away with not doing the reverse stitch. The glue is holding up. This is holding up. I think actually we got very lucky with this. We got very lucky with this. Let's go back on the bench because I think that is enough sewing for now and for this live stream. Okay. Okay. What was that? Something broke. Heard something break. Well, this tripod has seen better days, to be honest. Ouch. Okay. So let's put it down a little bit so we can see a little bit better. Cool. Okay. So this is where we are at. That goes there. Don't need this anymore. This we're done with. In fact, we can go away for now. So this is where we are at for the moment. We need to turn it inside out. It's not exactly the nicest piece of work I've ever done. Definitely a lot of glue showing there, which means that I was doing the stitch too far in, not near enough the edge. I think I can clean up most of it. Yeah, just rolls up like this, and you can clean up some of it, which is weird because it adheres the leather faces together, but like when it no, I reckon this is why you need this to sew it. Okay. Okay, just cleaning up some of the excess glue while I still can, because I reckon once it dries completely, it will be very difficult to remove. I think that does the job for now. Okay, so we have a little bit of a glue spread over here. Definitely need to pay more attention to the glue itself. Okay. So how can we make this a little bit better? Obviously we need to close it shut, and I think the best way to close it shut would be to fold these panels inwards like so. Okay, and have it shut like that. I wonder. Yeah, we can have like a flap over, we can do a lot of things to this. But I think I'm just going to punch holes. let's punch holes. Let's try. Oh wait, we haven't selected a lace yet because I don't have a long enough one. Is this long enough? No, this isn't long enough, not by a long shot. So, what laces have we got? I should have this one. Perfect. Okay, got a nice. I think this is not. It's nylon, probably. I know for sure that it melts. No need to test that out. Okay. In fact, we'll melt at the end later. I reckon this is enough. Okay. Now, let's punch in holes. I think this is the. Let's see if I can identify a better looking face than the others. Okay. I think this face seems nice enough. Just that little bit of glue. Squeeze out. Okay. So I think it's best to punch holes and see how the leather wants to sit naturally. So we'll need 2 holes on each surface. I think the number 6 hole will do now. Let's give it another try. Again, we're going to be eyeballing it. It doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, this isn't working, so let's use the actual punches. The problem with this material is that it is too stretchy, so it doesn't cut nicely with just pressure applied to it. It needs to have like that oomph. So what is this? This is a quarter. This, I think this material actually passes through this. Yes, it would. We just need to clean this out. Let's see. Yes, it would. Okay, let's use this material. Okay, and this punch. I already have the first hole marked out. So my rawhide mallet. It's 1, and that's 2. Same on every face. Try to, much as possible, do it at the same depth. Okay. Try not to pinch any leather underneath it. Don't get any other face other than the one that you are punching. So. I should have done this. I should have done this step after cutting or before cutting the panels. I figured I would use the rotary punch. It's not such a big deal. I mean, I can easily do this, so could you. Just shows the lack of planning that I've had with regards to this one. The other one I had done in the past, so I was quite familiar with the procedure, with the the order of operations, as it were. Okay, so I think it would be best to first melt the tips and see if we can roll them into. Okay, I'll clean them up a little bit better as well. What I'm doing here is I'm flattening them out and trying to round them so that they don't have any of those bits. Extremely handy having a creme brulee torch in the workshop. Now, good thing about marble, molten plastic doesn't stick to it, it just goes straight through. So you just need to thread the string through, cord, until you get to the front. And this is a bit of a high friction cord, so you probably won't need a tab to close this. It will hold the leather, so it's the wrong way, inside out. You probably won't need a tab to hold everything closed like we did the other one. Even the other one was really high friction, so it was fine, but yeah. Okay. Try to even out the strings. And that is the closed pouch. I think for these I'm going to see if I have like lighter colored beads for them. Let me just get this out of the way. Okay, bead pouch. Alright, it's back there. This needs to go on my pile up here. Oh, I see some white pieces. Let's have a look. I think white teardrops. Nice, nice. I like them. White teardrops. Another white circle. We don't have a matching white circle, which is a pity. I'd like to have perhaps 2 white circles, but that's okay. I think the white teardrops will do nicely. Can I match perhaps with a black color? Do I have another black bead like this? This is blue. Not seeing any matching black ones, but that's fine. That's fine. Let's just put everything away, and we'll use the white wooden teardrops. Now this is the part where everything starts slipping away, and then I find like a random wooden bead 7 years from now. So let's try and be careful and not drop any. Okay. Now that I think about it, perhaps I should get one of those small toolboxes and just sort them by color. That way I can see what I need easily, but oh well. So this goes back in the pocket. There. Now we might have to drill these out a little bit. Let's see. Okay, let's get some pliers. Pliers will flatten this a little bit. Let's see. Okay, that's one gone through. Second one almost through. Through. Okay. Yeah, I like the gray and the white. I think it looks nice. Looks a little bit greener and yellower on camera, but in real life, I can tell you, it looks quite nice. Now we don't need such a long string. When we open the bag, this one doesn't open as much as the other one, so perhaps something over here will do. Simple knot over there. Try to match it on the other side as well, so we have it about the same distance from the bead. Okay, there we go. I also tie a knot up here so that these don't move, but I don't we're going to lightly brush them against a flame, very lightly, so that they don't fray any further. Okay, good. And now we're going to have a set of dice which we chose, which is the white and black set, to go in there. Close this tightly, and also give it a quick knot on the front. And that is our second piece done for today. It took us about an hour and a half to make both of them. Most of the time was taken by this one, for sure. It was a lot more work, a lot more experimentation. Not quite sure what I was doing there, but we figured it out. Now I have another technique in my arsenal. It needs refining, it needs practice, like anything else that everyone does. Practice makes perfect, and something I really believe in. So yeah, making more of these will make my techniques better. Okay, so let's get the sewing machine out of the way and we'll start wrapping up this live stream a little bit earlier than usual today. But that is fine. We did what we set out to do. Okay. Cool. This is done. Okay, there. The rawhide mallet back in its place. It goes there. We can put the glue back in its place later after we wrap up stuff. And let's show on camera our two pieces. We have the reddish brown drawstring pouch made out of a simple circle of leather. We punched some holes into it. Alright, I have a knot. Punched some holes into it. The nice emerald dice inside. You can also use it as a sort of rolling tray, something like this. See? It's nice portable rolling tray as well. I like this idea. I like this so much better. A small tab, small leather tab to help you close it neatly, and then some wooden beads to match the aesthetic of it. This is really nice. I'm keeping this. This is cool. May make a couple more because I have this kind of leather. Perhaps if anyone is interested in getting one, let me know. And secondly, we have the grey squarish one. Okay, with the white and black dice. Also serve as a nice money pouch, I suppose. Nice coin pouch, as Paul just said a few minutes ago on the chat. So I think these are quite neat, quite nice. I like them. So let us transition. There we go. Let me have a seat. Oh. Wow. Okay, this weekend has been very very busy for me. So spending some time in the workshop in this live stream has been incredibly relaxing. It was really good. So Paul said metal dice. Yes, I do have. It's not upstairs. It's upstairs. I have. I'm gonna stick to some dice box, but those are awesome. Yeah, cool, Rockin'. I mean, everyone has their own preference. I personally carried everything in a small fabric pouch and then rolled on the table. I like rolling on the table. I don't like dice trays, but something like this, I can see its appeal. I can see its use. Perhaps a little bit more than this. This perhaps has a bit more of a LARP, live action role play use, keeping some money in it or so. But this one, I can see it being used in Dungeons and Dragons as well. So yeah. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed the making of this. If you had to choose, which would be your favorite? I kind of prefer this one. I think it came out looking neater. Something cool about the grey leather as well. Perhaps I'll see if I have enough grey leather left. Perhaps I can make another one of these. So yeah. Thank you very much for joining me for this live stream. It has been such a pleasure having you here and having a chat with you. Thanks to everyone who comments on the chat. Thanks to everyone who joined the live stream and had a view. I hope that you found something interesting and that this was interesting as well. I'll be posting photos of these later on Instagram, so make sure to go check them out and leave a like if you do like this project. And in the meantime, I think I'll see you next week. I've got some projects brewing. I've had projects brewing for quite some time. Videos aren't ready yet. I need to edit them, but I have a big project coming up. Um, it's not Corso workshop related, but Corso workshop will definitely have to do something with that project. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you very much for joining me again, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Keep crafting, keep making stuff because it's awesome. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice evening.